Picture this, the fierce winds of the North Sea whipping through your hair as you stand on the deck of a longship, the icy waves crashing against the hull. In the distance, you see the rugged coastline of a new land, untamed, wild, and ripe for exploration. For centuries, the Vikings have captured our imaginations as ruthless raiders and intrepid explorers. But who were these seafaring warriors really? What was life like beyond the battles and the pillaging? Today, we're peeling back the layers of myth and legend to uncover the true story of how the Vikings lived. From their daily routines to their social structures and even their beliefs in the supernatural, we'll explore the world of the Vikings in a way you've never seen before. So if you're ready to set sail on a journey through history, grab your shields and swords because we're diving into the life of the Vikings. Let's start where life begins for everyone, the home. The Vikings lived in large communal houses known as longhouses. These were impressive wooden structures, often reaching up to 80 feet long and 20 feet wide. The longhouse was the center of Viking life, a place where families, extended relatives, and even livestock coexisted under one roof. The longhouse had a central hearth that served as the cooking area, providing warmth and light during the long, harsh winters. Daily life in a Viking household was a community affair. Men, women, and children all had roles to play. Men often worked as farmers, hunters, or craftsmen during times of peace, while women were responsible for managing the household, cooking, and weaving. Children were taught early on to contribute, boys learning the art of war and farming, while girls learned skills like spinning and cooking. While the Vikings are often remembered as warriors and explorers, their daily lives were grounded in agriculture. Farming was the backbone of Viking society, with most families growing their own food. The harsh Scandinavian climate made farming challenging, but the Vikings were resourceful. They cultivated barley, rye, and oats, which formed the basis of their diet. Vegetables like cabbage, beans, and onions were also grown, and dairy products from cows, goats, and sheep were staples in their diet. Viking society was organized into a hierarchy that determined one's role, status, and responsibilities. At the top were the chieftains, or jarls, who were the leaders of their communities, often wealthy landowners and powerful warriors. Beneath them were the carls, the free men who made up the majority of Viking society. They were farmers, craftsmen, and traders who owned land and had the right to bear arms. At the bottom were the thralls, or slaves, who had no rights and were often prisoners of war or people in debt. Despite this hierarchy, Viking society valued law and order. Disputes were settled at a local assembly known as a thing. Here, free men could voice their opinions, present their cases, and seek justice. The thing was a democratic institution, a place where laws were made, agreements were settled, and even punishments were decided. It was a cornerstone of Viking governance, ensuring that despite the often brutal and violent nature of their world, there was a system of rules that maintained social order. When we think of Vikings, we often picture fearsome raiders, but they were also skilled traders and explorers. The Viking longship, with its shallow draft and speed, was not only a tool for raids but also for exploration and trade. Vikings established extensive trade networks that stretched from the Middle East to North America. They traded goods such as furs, amber, ivory, and even slaves in exchange for silver, silk, spices, and other luxury items. Their exploration was equally impressive. Vikings were the first Europeans to reach North America, landing in what is now Newfoundland, Canada, around 1000 AD, nearly 500 years before Columbus. They also settled in parts of Russia, Ireland, and Britain, leaving a lasting impact on the cultures they encountered. Their voyages were driven not just by a thirst for wealth, but also by a desire for new lands to settle and cultivate. At the heart of Viking life was a rich tapestry of religion and mythology. The Vikings were polytheistic, worshipping a pantheon of gods and goddesses, each with their own domains and stories. Odin, the All-Father, was the god of wisdom, war, and death. Thor, with his mighty hammer Mjolnir, was the protector of mankind and the god of thunder. Freya, the goddess of love and fertility, was also associated with war and death. These deities played a central role in Viking life, influencing everything from daily activities to major decisions. Vikings believed in an afterlife, where warriors who died in battle would be taken to Valhalla, a grand hall where they would feast and fight until the end of days. Rituals and sacrifices were common, often conducted to gain the favor of the gods or to ensure success in battle and fertility in the fields. Their mythology was passed down through oral traditions, with skalds poets telling epic tales of heroism, adventure, and the gods' interactions with humans. While Viking men are often the focus of history, Viking women were powerful and independent figures in their own right. Women in Viking society enjoyed more freedom and rights than many of their counterparts in other parts of the world at the time. They could own property, request a divorce, and even reclaim their dowries if their marriage ended. Viking women were often in charge of the household, while the men were away on raids or trading expeditions, managing farms, and overseeing slaves. In some cases, women even participated in trade and exploration, traveling alongside men on expeditions. The legendary shield maidens, warrior women who fought alongside men, though debated among historians, are a testament to the strength and respect Viking women commanded in their society. Death in Viking society was not seen as an end, but as a transition to another existence. Viking funeral rites were elaborate and varied, often reflecting the social status of the deceased. One of the most famous practices was the ship burial, where the dead were placed in a boat or ship, surrounded by their possessions, and either buried or set adrift and burned at sea. This was believed to help them in their journey to the afterlife. And so, we've journeyed through the world of the Vikings, uncovering the true story of how these legendary people lived. From their homes and families to their beliefs and battles, the Vikings were a complex and fascinating society, far more than just the brutal raiders of popular imagination. They were farmers, traders, explorers, and craftsmen, people who left an indelible mark on history. Thank you for watching, and remember, history is not just about the past, it's a guide for the future. Until next time, stay curious, keep exploring, and may the spirit of the Vikings inspire you.